What's up, everybody? Axe Wizard here, back with another Cairn video. I'm so sorry that it's been so long. You might notice I'm have a little bit different hairstyle. When I started this new job I've got like 9 months ago, I didn't have any gray in my beard, and I had a full head of hair. Now, I have gray in my beard, and I noticed I had a pretty big bald spot on the back of my head. So I decided if I'm going to be bald, I'm going to be bald. So now Baron von Baldbeard is here. Anyway, that's not what you're here for. I've had a lot of, not a lot, I've had a few people ask me, how do I make those character sheets that I use in my videos where I make the characters for the different backgrounds in the second edition of Cairn? So I figured I would show you step by step how I do that. So the first thing is I make a character. So this is the player's handbook, which for the Kickstarters, people who backed the Cairn 2nd edition Kickstarter, we got our early backer PDFs. So I've got the player's guide, I've got the warden's guide, which I'm digging into currently. I've got a lot of cool thoughts on that. We have the first anthology adventure, I think. Then we have another adventure in here, the beginner adventure, I think, Twin Lakes. We also have the warden screen, and we have the character sheets. So you can find the character sheets online already. You don't have to have the backer PDFs or anything for that. I just have those. I don't know how much of those I should show, because I don't know. It's a product that's being sold, right? I think Yohai has been putting everything like in the Discord. And I think you can even find it on the Cairn RPG site if you dig for it. But I know that the character sheets have been made public before, so I don't mind using that. And of course, the player's guide has been going through the playtest for like the last a while. So I know that. I don't know if I should show off the warden's guide or not yet. I don't plan on going through page by page. I think that'd be a pretty boring video. But I figured it might be kind of cool to do some of the stuff that it talks about. So I started like designing like a region and stuff like that based on what it tells me to do. So it's kind of cool. I just made like a realm and a region like pretty easy. Anyway, that's a different video. I'm getting sidetracked all day today, tell you what. So we're going to be making a character. So I've got this character sheet. Now, if you haven't seen the 2nd edition character sheet, this is basically what it is. I like the landscape one. That's the one that I typically use because it also works better for video format because you can actually read the stuff on there to an extent, I think. Whereas the other one, the portrait version, and this one's a bit more condensed, and I think that if I just had it on one side in one of my videos, it might be hard to read some of the stuff on it. So... but you can do either, whatever you prefer. If you want to use the portrait or the landscape version, you do you. I'm gonna just stick with my landscape one. I'm gonna recreate it, but I don't want to recreate all the character stuff again because I'm working on the foundling background right now, and so I have a character loosely created for that. So let's go with that. So the first thing I do, and this is kind of cheesy, but once I have the PDF, I don't use the PDF really. I take a screenshot of it. So I'm going to take a screenshot, and I think if I just click and drag like this area here, I think this is still like 16:9 resolution or so. That looks about right. So I'm going to save this. And I'm just going to save it as Cairn 2E landscape character sheet pick, because it's not a PDF. I'm saving it as a PNG. So I have that screenshot. So that's step one that I do is I take that. How do I get out of this full screen? Here we go. So once I have that, then what I usually do, and this is just the program that I use. It's a web app called BFunky. I've pretty much used it for everything with my channel, like since I started it. I even used it to make my guards adventure. So all the layout and everything was all done in BFunky. In fact, if I go to open and I go to open a project from BFunky, you can see all the pages that I made with every thing of guards. And you can see I've got like my templates for my recurring series. I haven't done raw riffage in a while. I should do that. But I do pretty much everything in BFunky. So you can see here I've got this Cairn 2E character sheet template. I just have it all set up there, and anytime I want to make a new one, I just pull this up and I use that. But I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to show you how to make your own from scratch, and I do that with this program BFunky, which is a web app. Now, the features that I use do require the paid version, but you could potentially get away with doing this with a different program. I don't know off the top of my head. I've just been using BFunky for so many years, and I like it. But you could probably use something like, I don't know, you can probably even use a drawing program like GIMP or Krita, and you might be able to get away with some of the same things. But I'll show you why I prefer to use BFunky. So follow along with my process, and then if you might be able to find, or even you might be able to recommend alternatives to BFunky. Keep in mind, again, the features I'm using I think are paid features. But I think you can at least set up your character sheet without it being, without having to pay for it. I don't know. I've been paying for it for years. I don't know how many features they've revoked off the free version and only made it paid. I don't know. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open an image from our computer. I think I saved that to pictures. Cairn 2E landscape character sheet pick. I'm going to select this bad boy and I'm going to open it up, and then bam. We have it in this image editor. Now, there's a bunch of these AI things that have been added. I don't really use these. AI is not great, to be honest. But anyway, the first thing I want to do, actually, is if I go down here... I don't have any layers yet, apparently. Okay, so fine. So this is kind of what I do, and this is a weird thing. So I open it up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer the two character sheets on top of each other. And this is just this is just how I set it up. So if I pop this open again, if I just go to image, and then I'm going to search for another image. I'm going to pick that Cairn 2E landscape character sheet pick again. And I'm just going to right click it. I'm going to add as a layer. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set this up top. This thing snaps for me automatically. I'm just going to drag it to where it snaps. So the reason why I did that is because if I click this layers and groups down here now, I have this layer because the original image you have is your background image, and you can do all sorts of things to that, but this other image you have here is a layer on top of it. So what I want to do is basically for this layer, for this character portrait area, I want to cut this out of that top layer so that you can put like a picture behind it of your actual character art. And I'll show you how I make the character art later on in this video. So let's cut this out. So I'm going to hit edit image. And what this does is this sort of brings open like the whole editor for this layer here. So we have access to all these different tools that we can do. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to edit. And then what I'm going to do is there's a feature called cutout. And what I want to do is I want to change the area to keep. Actually, no, I'm going to remove. So what I basically do is you just sort of draw the area that you want to remove. So here you can see I've got this really big like brush size. So I can crank this down. And then here I can be a little bit more fine-tuned. If I just hold control and zoom in, I can hold down spacebar and I can drag if I want to get really exact. So I'm just going to remove this inside area. And I try to stay in the line. It's not too big a deal if you go out of the line, but I like to stay in the line just so if you have a really big character portrait, it looks like it fits right in there. So now I'm going to crank the brush size up a little bigger back where it was, and then I'm just going to remove like the middle area that I missed. So there. everything should be removed in this area. It doesn't show it, but if you hit apply, that is now hidden. So I can go to done editing image, and there you go. Now I have this layer. So now I'm going to click off of that. And so if I want to test that, you can see, you can click and drag it around, and you can see how the portrait is now cut out. So it looks like I did a pretty good job. So I'm just going to do Control Z to put it back where it was. Cool. So now that I've got this set, how do I add all the fancy text and stuff to it? So if we go down here to the text tool, we can, I'm just going to click add text, and this just brings up text. So you can see Diadect Gothic was the last font I was using. There's a bunch of different fonts that I typically use. So there's a lot of these like handwritten fonts. So Annie, use your telescope. There's Architect's Daughter. There's like some cursive fonts if you want to do that. There's some semi-cursive stuff. There's lots of like handwritten style fonts. And I'm trying to remember which one of these I picked when I normally do it. You can use Dignus handwriting. That looks huge. But this is one of the things I really like about BFunky is it has all these different fonts. And so I use it for like all my thumbnails and stuff for my videos because I can whip up a thumbnail pretty quick with it. All right, I don't see the font I used, but let me just do like the art of illuminating, right? If I want to do like some fancy text. So let me just try this out. Let me just do like testing, right? So we'll just do testing. And then what I'll do is I'm going to move this over to the name area. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to make this one align right. And I'm going to make it take up the whole thing. So what I want it to do is I want it to basically sit like right on the line. And if I edit it to add like a super long name, it's supposed to all fit under there, right? So let's just do a super long name. And if I click that and I want to like make it smaller, so maybe I might drop this down to like 50 pixels for the size. Okay, so that looks good. A super long name, right? So we've got that in there. That fits. Is that the same font that's used for this character sheet? No, it's not. But it's still pretty cool. So you could pick like whatever font you want to do that, right? So I'm gonna go with just a handwritten font. So let's just do like, I don't know, Architect's Daughter, right? So I'm going to set that as the font. And the character that I'm going to be working on is called, the name is Brim. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to crank up the font size. Let me select it all. Let's just keep it at 70 like it was. So I'm gonna position this here. Okay, so I've got that one. I got Brim. So now I'm gonna add another text, and it remembers the last font you were using. I'm gonna make it a bit smaller. I'm gonna add in the background. So this one is going to be Foundling. It also remembers the justify settings too. So right, you see it's all justified to the right. So Foundling, this is a little bit small. Let's crank this up to, I don't know, 40. Foundling, there we go. I think that looks pretty good, right? So we have Brim and the background is Foundling. If you want, you can even make these bold if they don't appear like they're good enough. So then we have that. So now I'm going to do one for, let's add text again. And this time, I'm going to do justify left. And I'm going to add in the attributes that I rolled. So let's see, I rolled 12 for strength, 6 for dexterity, 8 for willpower. Brim is a pretty challenged character, so we'll do 12. And I think that this still needs to be even bigger. So let's just make this bigger. Might even go 80 on this. There we go. 80, and we're gonna make it bold. I don't know. We'll just keep it standard. So 12, and then I just space over, and we got what, 6, And then we got 8. And then for hit protection, they got 5. So that's basically what I do. Like, it's not going to fit perfectly sometimes, depending on what font you're using. It usually gets close enough. So maybe I might just do, like, add a space here, or I can usually finagle it to kind of fit in how I want. Like, that looks okay, right? You can get the idea. If you want, you can add text boxes for each individual thing. I don't typically like to do that because it just takes up time. So I'm going to shrink this down to just fit this area here. Boom. So we've got that. And you can see that they're actually added as layers on here at the bottom left, which is cool. So now what we're going to do is let's add sections for inventory, petty items, traits, bonds, omens, and notes. And I'll show you how I do that, because I don't do it line by line, because that would suck. So what we're going to do is I'm going to shrink this down, and I'm just going to say item 1, item 2, item 3, item 4, item 5, and I just keep going, right? Bam. So now I have items. So I'm going to drag this over. Are you kidding me? It fits perfectly. First go. So if it doesn't fit perfectly, what you can do is you can go over here to this little spacing button over here. And if you click that, you can adjust the letter spacing, and you can also adjust the line height. So if it's not perfect, you can get it perfect. This just happened to work out pretty well. So if I just drag this down to where it needs to be on the lines, bam, you can see there. And so as I'm filling this out, once I save this as like my template or a project file, I can come in here and I can put, like, you know, a torch and 3 uses, and I just fill that out with whatever I have going on, right? So that's what I do there. So items, so inventory is good to go. Boom. Then we're gonna add text again. And I'm gonna shrink it down again. And then for here, see how it kind of like it tries to auto center on something else? If you want to turn that off, there is a setting, I believe it's down here, alignment. You can turn the snapping off temporarily to get it where you want it. There we go. So now I'm going to say item 1, item 2, item 3, item 4, item 5, item 6, item 7. So you can see this doesn't line up perfectly, right? So I'm going to drag this over here, and then, so this font's 35, this font is 33 pixels. I kind of like this. Maybe I want it to be like a little bit smaller, and then that would fit normally. That might work just fine. But if I wanted it to match the other one, then I could set that, and I could just go to line height, and I can change that, and it would make it in there. Now this might seem pretty dense, I don't know, but whatever your taste is. So you can set this to be, you know, big or dense as you want. Just get it to where it lines up on the lines, and then you're good to go. For my case here, I think I'm going to go down to 30 pixels. I think that looks better, and I'm going to go crank up the line height to get it on the lines. So there you go. So that gives you room to put your petty items. So now we've got that. I'm gonna do the same for traits, bonds, omens, and notes. Drag this over here, shrink it down to where it looks like it should fit. Traits. Now traits, since it has this line here that kind of goes, because you have this cool skull art right here, I like to make it justified to the right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink this down, and I'm going to go trait 1, and then I'm just going to click this. I have this selected. I'm just going to make it align right. There we go. So now every time I'm just going to go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And those are the traits you usually have, but if you want, you can add 9 and 10 just for funsies. So now that I've got that, you can see here that it doesn't quite match the lines again. So again, same thing. We're just going to click this spacing button and we're going to adjust the line height to fit our needs. There you go. And again, if you don't like it, like if it's you can make it bold if you want it bold. You could change the you can have different fonts for each section if you like. It's all about whatever you want to do. You can even do some highlight stuff. You could do like drop shadows. I mean, there's all sorts of different things you could do. You can even change the colors of it if you want it to be something else. You could color code your character sheet. I'm just going to keep everything black to make it like handwritten, like I'm filling it out with a pen or a pencil or something. So there we go. So I've got my traits section worked out, and we got the bonds. So let's add the text. Same thing. Just going to shrink it down to where it needs to, about 30 pixels. Looks pretty good here. And I'm going to shrink it like this. I don't want this one to be aligned to the right. I'm going to click align left. And then here I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see it's pretty close to being lined up, but it's not perfect. So I'm going to click line spacing. I'm going to adjust the line height to get it exactly where I want it. Perfect. Okay, omens. Let's knock this out. Let's see. Let's get it to where it's about 30 pixels again. That's where I like it. Right there. That looks pretty good. I'm going to shrink it down here. And then from here, I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see it's still on the lines pretty well. So cool. And finally, notes. I'm going to click over here off somewhere, add text. And we're going to shrink this bad boy down. We're going to go to about 30 again. Boom. I'm going to expand this. And then 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you can see they're not quite lining up on the lines perfectly. So again, line spacing. I'm going to adjust the line height and get it to where I want. So once you have this, when you're ready to go in here, you can just start typing out like, I have a curse that makes me poop my pants, but the poop is magical. And you can see, you can just quickly edit this to make it whatever, like, special things you want to put in your notes. You can do all that. So I'm just going to reverse that. I'm just going to say, I'm going to put to-do notes here, right? So I already have the spacing and stuff figured out. So I've got all this set. So now I have a few things left to do. I have the armor and the gold to do. So we're just going to do the same thing. I'm going to say, I don't know, 69 gold, because that's a good healthy amount. And I'm going to, oops, I did not do that right. There we go. Now I'm going to center this one. I'm going to slim it down a little bit. I'm going to put that bad boy right there. So I have it centered. So what that means is if I put something like 6 gold, it's in the center. But if I put something like 69, oops, I'm doing it in my search bar. Here we go. So if I put something like 69, it's also centered. Now, if you are going to be like a billionaire trade lord and you're going to have like tons of money in there, you might want to shrink it down even farther to account for that. But for this, you know, you can put that in there. And then also for the armor, I do the same thing. I'm going to say, I don't know, 0, because most people don't have armor. I'm going to put this bad boy right here. I'm going to shrink this bad boy down like that. I don't think you're never going to have above 3 armor, so you don't have to worry about double digits here. And you just slap that puppy right there. Bam. Look at that. So now you have this character sheet that you have a saved template, and you can go in here and you can edit this however you want. And it's, bam, it's ready to go. So you can create a bunch of characters if you want to keep track of your character stuff. So you could print out like a hard copy of it, and then you can come in here and make changes after sessions, whatever you want to do with that. You do that here. So you could save this. Now you could save as a project, which I recommend doing. And you could save this to your computer, or if you have a BFunky account, you can save it on BFunky. Some things I save on BFunky, some things I don't. I usually have a spot on my computer for this type of stuff. So you could save it. Maybe you could throw it on like a Google Drive or something. That way you've got it, and then you're good to go. So wait a minute, Axe Wizard. What about making my character portrait on here? We did that fancy cutout stuff. But what if I want to make cool art? Well, that's the cool thing. So I make my character art with a site called Hero Forge. I haven't been on here in a while. Hero Forge. Now this is for making like your custom miniatures. But what's really cool about this is you can make you can just sort of customize with like the 3D models to make the kind of character you want. And then I typically just take a screenshot of this and I put it in my game. So you can see here I made a war song from my Fletchwind. He was the last guy that I worked on. So you can make a really cool character. You can snap a picture of him. I typically remove the background and then I apply a art filter over it to make it look hand-drawn. So I'll show you how I do that. So that's not Pluck, that is War Song. I'm gonna make a new foundling. So I'm gonna make Brim. Brim, I think I'm gonna make, because the 3 names I picked out for the foundlings are Brim, Hazel, and Snowdrop. So I think Brim is gonna be a dude, and then Hazel and Snowdrop are gonna be females or ladies. So let's make a human. Oh, it's modifying him in place. How do I just make a new character? They changed the site. No. Oh, I just gotta click up here. New. Don't save. There we go. So I have a new human character, right? Brand new, fresh for the Hero Forge. So if you never mess with Hero Forge, it's a pretty fun little tool. So I just basically go, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to color. And I'm going to pick body first, and this will pick like a nice starting template to go with. So you can really pick like what kind of skin color you want. You could be like a subterranean guy. You could be like a reptilian, aquatic, or monstrous, infernal. You can do all sorts of cool sorts of stuff here, right? So I'm just gonna pick like a basic dude. We're just gonna go plain Jane. Actually, you know what, Brim? But I haven't even rolled like the physique and stuff yet for the characters. So let's do that really quick. So I'm gonna go here to creating a character in Cairn. I've already rolled the attributes, hit protection, and traits. I haven't rolled traits yet. So background, you would normally roll it, but I'm going to be foundling because I'm making these videos for foundling. After this, I still have 12 more backgrounds to go through. So I got lots more characters coming. And let's just skip to the next page. How do I do that? Bonds. We do need to roll bonds. Let me just roll a d20 here. So that's, what is that? That's a 13. So what bond is that? There we go. Bonds 13. You found a wounded beast in the forest, but chose to ignore it. You see it everywhere now, but only when you're alone. It looks sad, but not angry. You cannot become panicked when acting alone. You cannot become panicked when acting alone. So that's an interesting one. I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to go into my handy dandy template I made. I'm going to paste that right into notes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to format it a little bit. Now I'm going to make it sound personalized. So I found a wounded beast in the forest, but I chose to ignore it. So there you go. I have a little note entry added about that dealio there. And I think I'm gonna do a little bit of formatting here. I see it because it still has like the line endings and stuff from copying the file. There we go. So now I'm able to fit more and I have some more notes for stuff. So there we go. So bond. So that's bond. I'm just gonna put like bond number 13. There we go. So this is how I fill out this this template here, right? So let's go back to this fancy PDF. So I roll bonds, omens. So here's the traits. That's what I was looking for. So we need a D10. So Brim is Lanky. Brim has a lanky physique. So let's go back and add that. So I'm just going to do this really quick. I'm just going to roll these. I'm going to add them to the template. So there we go. I've got my traits added. So now I know what my character is going to kind of look like, right? But before I make my character, I also want to know what inventory and stuff they're going to have. So let's take a look at what the Foundling actually has. That's Fungal Forager. Haven't done that yet. Foundling. An odd birthmark. A strange smell. Somehow, the touch of elsewhere still lingers. Wherever you are, you have trouble fitting in. Roll on the omens table, even if you're not the youngest player, but keep the results private for now. So I have to roll on the omens table. So I think since it's keep it private, I don't think I'm going to include that in this character sheet right now. Because I don't want you to use the pre-rolled omen that I used. If it's going to be private, so I recommend just rolling that for this. So starting gear, 3d6 gold pieces. Let's roll that. So 3d6. Let's see, we got 6 and 9. So hey, 6, 9. Woo! So we start out with 9 gold. So let me go back and edit. So gold, 9. Bam, got that. Next. Rations, 3 uses. Torch, 3 uses. Salt pouch. Okay. So let's go add those while I'm here. So well, the cool thing is, since you've already got the line spacing done, you can just select everything with like Control A. You can backspace, and then I'm going to do torch 3. I'm just going to do times 3 for 3 uses. Rations times 3. And then what was it? Salt pouch was what it was. Yeah, rations, torch, salt pouch, heirloom amulet. It's petty, so it goes in petty items. Petty means it doesn't take up a inventory slot. Glows in the presence of magic. So I'm going to go to my character sheet. For petty items, same thing. I'm going to hit Control A, select it all. And I'm going to say heirloom amulet. And it's going to go on multiple lines. I'm just going to say amulet. You right? Amulet. Whatever. I'll do it there. You get the idea. You can put it there. I can move this around a little bit. Like I can move this here. Can make this a little bit wider. There we go. And it fits. Perfect. Bam. Just like that. So heirloom amulet. So I got that. And I'm going to put down here in my notes, what did I just do? In my notes, I'm going to click down here, I'm going to add a new line. And I'm going to say, I have an heirloom amulet that glows in the presence of magic. Super cool. And to make my notes easier, I like to do like a space dash space in front of them. So that way I can tell like a new entry in there. And you might end up having like a separate notes sheet on your own somewhere. But yeah, I have this all here. Super cool. So I have that put in there because that's what the background starts with. So we got that. We have a sling, which is a ranged weapon, does D6. Fun fact, I can use a sling in real life. I can't hit anything with it, but I can throw stones with it. It's pretty fun. And we have a dagger. Sling and dagger. So I'm going to add these here. So boom, I'm going to just add a new line here. So I'm going to say sling, and I'm going to say 1d6, and dagger 1d6. And that is our starting equipment based on just what the Foundling starts with. Now with the backgrounds, you get to roll on these tables here. So a d6, who took you in? So if I take 1d6, I rolled a 1. An old hunter, you were both quite happy until it all ended. Take a weathered longbow, d8 and bulky, and a leather jerkin, 1 armor. Okay, so let's add that to our inventory. So I'm going to say, what was it, longbow, which does 1d8, and it's bulky, which means it takes up 2 slots, So I'm going to add bulk here. And then you also have leather jerkin, which is not bulky, and it gives you 1 armor. So I'm going to adjust this here. Just like that, you got 1 armor. Perfect. Cool. So who took you in? An old hunter. So you can add this to your notes if you want. So weathered longbow. It's a weathered longbow. I like to be weathered. In fact, let's just get rid of the bulk because I can have that up here. I'll do like little up arrows. I need that parenthesis. Thank you. And boom. There you go. 1d8 bulky. Leather jerkin, we got that. And for the second table, what keeps away bad tidings? I'm going to roll d6. I got 3. Ivy worm. A green worm often mistaken for a weed. Swallowed whole, it absorbs any toxins or rot in the body before exiting through the usual way. So I assume, is this an item that you get? I would assume so. So I'm going to add ivy worm. And I can put down here in my notes, I have an ivy worm that removes, what did it say? Poisons and toxins? Absorbs any toxins or rot. Absorbs any toxins or rot. But I gotta poop it out. But poop after, right? I'll just put that in there because I'm running out of lines, okay? Get off my back. So I have an ivy worm that absorbs any toxins or rot, but poop after. So I guess that makes sense, okay? That's what we got. That's what we got. So that is the character. So now we have an idea of what the character is, right? So we don't have any omens yet. We should roll one, but I'm not gonna roll it for this character. But if you wanted to see what that was like, you can go to omens, and I'm just gonna roll a d20. 15. So you go to 15. Folks say that a faint laughter can be heard echoing out of wells all over the city, and that the echoes change to sobs at night. So it's just a story hook that's typically for the warden or the DM, you know, the GM, the person who's hosting the game, to weave into a cool story arc. Fun stuff. Anyway, I just did that for fun. We're not going to put that in there. Anyway, now we know what our character's going to be. Their traits, they're going to have a lanky physique, oily skin, curly hair, elongated face, gravelly voice, filthy clothing, gregarious, and deceitful. And they also have a leather jerkin. They have a weathered longbow and a dagger. And those are the things you could probably see on them right away. And you could see here that they have a higher strength. Their dexterity is a bit lacking, and their willpower is a bit below average. So I think in Hero Forge, I'm gonna just do like a plain Jane friggin' white dude, because why not? Ba-bum. And then I'm going to go click theme over here. And let's see, what kind of goes with a foundling? So what is his traits again? He's got lanky physique. He's got filthy clothing. So let's try to find like a dirty color, right? Like this is kind of dirty. I have brazen hero, warm tones, and shiny metals. So I just these are all just like preset colors. You can customize this as much as you want. I typically don't go that far into it. This kind of looks dirty and rugged. Let's go with this. So we'll start with that color, right? So I'm going to go to the body, and we got humanoid torso. Where I could do measure? Here we go. So I'm going to make him kind of like a taller a little bit, and then I'm going to make his arms a little bit thinner, his upper body a little bit thinner, his lower body a little bit thinner. For his posture, I think I might kind of make him hunched over just a bit. For his build, I'm going to make him kind of thinner. Muscularity, I want him to actually have some muscles because he has a higher than average strength. I want his waist to be a little smaller because he's going to be kind of lanky. He doesn't look that lanky, does he? I'm going to get rid of his belly. Not that he really had one to begin with. I'm going to crank up that booty. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to give him no booty. I'm sorry. I'm going to crank down the muscularity just a little bit because he doesn't have a muscular physique. He's got a lanky physique. In fact, I'm going to make him a little bit skinnier. There we go. Now he's kind of lanky, right? He's got that lanky. Let's go to his head. I want to change his face. So it says he had an elongated face. I don't know what that actually means. I assume that's like sharp features maybe? Or he's got just like a really long face. Like he's a horse. I can go elegant features, and maybe I could like, do I have control over like how long his face is? Not that I see. Anyway, this will work. This will work for now. I don't want to do. I don't want to go crazy with it. So ears, I don't care about that. Hair, he's got curly hair, so we could do that. Woo! Look at that styling. Let's see. That's pretty dope. All right, I think this is our best bet. Shaggy curls. So he's got some shaggy curls. He's rocking. I'm going to give him a beard, just some sort of facial hair. So he's got curly hair, right? That's what he had? Yeah, curly hair. He's got oily skin, curly hair, elongated face. Maybe I'll give him the old Abe Lincoln. Yeah? That was kind of cool. I'm going to change his facial expression later. There we go. So we got that. So now let's talk about his clothing, right? So he's got leather jerkin and he's got filthy clothing. So I'm thinking he's going to have pretty rundown stuff. That's what I imagine. So let's do chest. We're going to go under. I'm just going to actually, I like his tunic. Let's stick with that. I'm going to go, where are the medieval pants I usually always use for like everything? There you go. Got some bard's pants. Looks kind of dirty. I like that. Let's go with some boots. There's a few shoes I usually like. Here we go. I usually like to go with these turn shoes because these are like medieval style shoes. And so I like to go with those. Sometimes I might even go with these fur boots or whatnot. Because he's got the boots with the fur. There we go. Look at that. Look at thug life. I'm gonna stick with that. That's good. Because he's got leather jerkin, right? He's got some armor, so maybe he's a little bit beefier. So now chest, I'm gonna go to the over tab. And I'm just gonna type in leather and see what options come up. Could do a Letterman jacket. Yeah, there you go. That's perfect. That gets one armor. Could do a hinterland vest. I don't know what's on there twice. Oh, this one has like an armband on it. You could do hammered armor chest plate. I don't know what that's going to protect. Your nipples, I guess. I don't know. Here we go. We can give him a front lacing bodice. Come on, give me some leather stuff here. Mercenary leather chest piece. Let's go with the hinterland hunter vest, because it's... I don't know, I feel like you should have something more than a vest, though. It's a jerkin. Is there anything that says jerkin? It's a fun name, jerkin. I don't see anything. Get a biker vest. Yeah. Get a cropped cargo jacket. I don't know why you would like it like that, though, but okay. You know, we're going with that leather thing, because it's dirty, it looks filthy. Boom, just like that. Now maybe we can go to the legs and we can go to the over, and for a waist, maybe there's like a other thing that goes with it. That's a bit much. I mean, that kind of works. There you go. I can give him a kilt. Heck yeah, that'd be dope. You know, I'm gonna give him the brawny battle skirt because that looks like it's kind of rugged and like filthy, right? I like that look a lot. I think that'll work. That'll work okay. So then what I like to do is I like to also go to gear, and I like to go to the back, and I like to give him a backpack. So you could give him like this heavy-duty backpack. I think that looks a bit too modern. So what I like to do is I like to do this backpack with bedroll. That kind of looks like an adventurer's backpack, you know? So I like to do that because, again, with Cairn, inventory is a key part of it. So I like to keep that pretty prominent. I do forget that on some characters, though. Cool. Got a backpack. So he's got a dagger. So in his gear, let's go to side items. And I would imagine a dagger might be on his right hip if he's right-handed. So let's just search for short blade. And we'll just see what kind of daggers we got. We got a sheathed Yakut knife. Tundra Dwellers. I'm going to add this to the right hip. Bam, look at that. Perfect. He's got a dagger. If I want to change it, I can do something different. Like I can do like a skull dagger, whatever you want to do, right? I could do like an assassin's dagger, which kind of looks weird, just kind of tied like that. But hey, whatevs. You do you. I think I'm going to go with that like Yakut knife or whatever, because it's sheathed. It looks good. I think that looks simple, right? So he's got a dagger, so he could shank some fools if he wants. And then in his hands, I'm going to add a bow, because he needs a bow. So he's got a weathered longbow. So we could do that. That looks pretty long and weathered, but it looks kind of weird. Could do an actual longbow, which looks kind of thick and derpy. Do a short bow, which looks short and derpy. Could do a carved wooden bow. Yeah, it looks like a thing of the gods. All right, we'll just go with the longbow, right? We're not gonna get crazy. So he's got that longbow, right? So there we go. I think based on this, lanky physique, oily skin, curly hair, elongated face, gravelly voice, filthy clothing. He's got the weathered longbow, leather jerkin. He's got the dagger. I could put a sling on his hip too, but realistically, you're probably going to be using your longbow since you've got that. And he's got his backpack full of stuff. He does have the heirloom amulets, so maybe I should actually take the time to go into clothing and go to the chest and go to the neck, and maybe we can add like an actual amulet or some sort of thing up here. So pendant necklace, a diamond necklace, choker with a pendant. Ooh. Give him a spiked collar. Give him a skull necklace. That's metal. Now the amulet doesn't have to be worn like on the neck. Maybe it could be like on his side or something. So I don't like these options that we're getting here. So let's see what we have for side gear. Side, let's do, I don't know, miscellaneous, like food? Miscellaneous? Some sort of amulet. So we need to do left side. A kazoo. Yes. I want a kazoo that glows whenever something magic is near. That's cool. I mean, there you go. We could do like a small arcane lantern that just kind of glows whenever magic is near. Could have that on his hip. Could be a nice little touch. There you go. We'll do a ninja star. Perfect. Maybe that's the medallion. It looks like he's got it tied to his hip, so when it starts glowing, he knows that there's magic nearby. Woo! There you go. So he's got that medallion on his hip. I don't know, that amulet. It's a ninja star, I know, but it looks kind of funny. That's what I found. I mean, you could do all sorts of crazy stuff. Oh, here we go. Here's an Ankh. That's a bit big, though. I don't think that is what we want. That is massive. Holy cow. So let's just stick with that ninja star. That looks like it's the best thing, and that was right here. There we go. Ninja star. So we have him set. So now let's give him a cool pose, right? So I don't want him necessarily shooting his bow. Maybe he's just chilling. We get like, oh, yes, indeed, indubitably, my good sir. Well, he's got a gravelly voice. I don't think he's going to be kicking anybody. So he could be standing still if he wanted to. Could be hanging out like, yo, what up? I'm just a foundling trying to survive, bro. Contrapasto. We could do... That's probably not him. Could do like, oh my god. I actually kind of like that stance. I don't like his hand in front, but we can change that. So let's do that. I'm also going to change his face. So I want him to... His attitude is that he's gregarious, which means like you're friendly and you get along, you're outgoing, but he's also deceitful. So maybe he's got like a very kind of a cocky look to him, but he's also like, hey, he's happy. And then maybe I'll give him like one of this like there you go, he's really happy. He's outgoing, you see the smile lines. He's really loving life. He's like, hey man, what's going on? I can make him punched in the face. Bruh. Let's see, what else we got? We got smile. We'll make him smile. There you go. I could make him smirk, but nah. There we go. So we got that. Affection. Great. There you go. He's smiling. Perfect. We got that. Now, let's change. Let's go to advanced. Let's click his right hand, and let's change... let's change like what he's doing. You could do that. Like, yo, what up, man? Haven't seen you forever, bro. I'm just sneaking around at night for no reason. Hey, man, it's you. You know, you can do all sorts of fun stuff with this. You can also change the rotation too. Be like, yeah, man, I'm doing good. Woo. So I'm gonna actually change like how his whole arm is. So I'm gonna bring his shoulder down a little bit. I'm gonna bend it this way, and I'm gonna tilt it down. For his elbow, I'm gonna bring that out. I'm gonna open up his clavicle just a little bit. Tilt it like that. And then for his hand, I don't want the bend like crazy like that. There we go. And then what I can do is I can have him... Let's move his head and let's make him look this way, right? This is kind of goofy. Let's make him bend forward like this, maybe. There we go, I got that. Let's make him tilt down just a tad. Maybe twist this way just a little bit. Yeah, I like that one. Bam, look at that. Lanky guy, just kind of skulking about. This guy's longbow, super happy. And for his face, I don't know if I'm still not happy with his expression. I think we should get rid of that. Is his teeth still showing? I think it is. There we go. Anyway, right? So I made this character. So cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another screenshot of him. So I'm going to take this screenshot. I'm going to try to get the bottom of his feet here. I'm going to drag this in just a little bit. And this screenshot tool, on Linux, I'm using FlameShot. On Windows, you can use a tool called LightShot. That's basically the same thing. And it gives you these similar options where you can resize it. It's very handy, a lot better than the snipping tool that Windows has. So I'm going to save this. And I'm going to say Brim raw, because it's the raw image. Save. So now I want to remove the background. So BFunky does have a background removal tool, but it really sucks. It does. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to remove.bg. I'm going to upload that image that I just made. Pictures, Brim raw. Bam, and it removes the background for me. And then now if you pay, you can download the HD. I don't need the HD. I'm just going to download the normal size. But download that. It's the remove BG preview, whatever. I'm going to save that. So now what I'm going to do is that's in my downloads. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go back to Image Manager in BFunky. I'm going to find this in my downloads. So Brim, cool. I'm going to add this as a layer. And I'm going to position it here. And then what I'm going to do to give it that cool hand-drawn effect to make it match the rest of the character sheet, so I'm going to click on Edit Image. And this is something that does use a paid feature. So I'm going to go to Artsy. And I do have a few favorites that I typically use. This Crosshatch Deluxe is what I typically use for this. So I'm going to pick that. It's going to edit it for me. Just give it a second. Artifying your photo. Bam. And you could see it does it. You could change the effect here if you want to look like more, like not quite as bad. But you can really change how much it's applied. I'm just going to keep it all the way. So there you go. There's the guy. I'm going to check the box. I'm done editing the image. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here. I'm going to move this image, this layer, all the way down below. And bam. There you go. Now you have your character sheet. And that's what I do, step by step. I don't have to go through the effort of making the whole template over again. But here you see that's what I do. So I save this as a template, and then the next time that I need to make a character, I just roll my character, and then I go through and I just click on fields. I edit things. I update it with my new character. And then from there, I just add the image. I apply the art filter to it, and I just move it beneath the... I basically hide this image I created here for the current character. I delete that layer. I add that layer again, and I move it underneath the sheet, and it works great. And you can still see we've got everything here. So yeah, that's it. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to me ramble through that, but people wanted to know how I make these character sheets, and that's the method that I've found that works for me. I'm sure that there is a much easier way of accomplishing this, but I like using BFunky as a tool because it lets me do the line spacing, and I can pick whatever font I want, and I think it looks really, really cool. And then of course I use Hero Forge because it's really easy to make a bunch of characters, and I think that you're more than welcome to use this stuff as long as you're not using it for like commercial stuff. Like I'm not making products, I'm not selling these characters or anything. I'm just making videos about them. I don't know. So I don't know if I'm allowed to do that or not. I just do. If I'm in the wrong, I'll stop doing it. But that's my current thing. For your own home games, I mean, you could go on BFunky or Hero Forge. You can create your guys, and you can do it for all your home games. That's typically what I do. And then if your campaign goes on long enough, and you want to bust out, figurines and stuff like that, maybe you can order your own. But I don't know how expensive they are, but they were pretty spendy last time I looked. And they might not look exactly like this when you get them. But this gives you the... This gives you the rough idea of what it will look like. So, there you go. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Oh, I guess I should tell you how to save it, right? So when you're done, just go save. And you can save it to your computer. And you save it. There you go. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and listening to me ramble. I appreciate it. And I'll see you in whatever video I make next.